This is Steve Schiffman. I want to thank you for joining me on this webcast podcast that we try to send out every single day that helps you as a salesperson and you as a manager do a better job. Because in managing, you really need to know how to teach, not just enforce. And I think that's important, and I try to emphasize that a lot. Today, I want to tell you about how I came to the conclusions that I came to about sales and not looking for the solution or for a problem, because what I found was there never was. My selling experience started a long time ago. I was selling space in a magazine, Interior Design magazine, which I have no idea whether it exists or not. I had just started out and going place to place, making appointments, doing what one does. And I walked in and I did what everybody said. I started out by saying to the gentleman who supposedly was the buyer, what problems you're facing, what situations keep you up at night, what drives you crazy with your current vendors. I mean, just all those questions. And he had no answers. I mean, he said, we're fine. You know, we'd rather get the ad that they ran for their lamps or whatever it was in the right side of the page, maybe a little bigger, maybe a different color shade or something like that. I don't even remember. But it wasn't enough to drive him away from the magazine that he was advertising into my magazine. In fact, we were a little more expensive, but that wasn't even the issue. That never came up. So I thought about it for a while. And I said, well, okay, he has no problems, but I'm going in and saying, what problems does he have? And that's what you do too. You've been taught that. You've been taught to ask people, what problems are you facing? What solutions can I provide for you? The issue there, for the most part, is they don't have a problem. They don't need a solution because they're doing fine. And they've done fine for a number of years. And frankly, you're coming in. It's just an annoyance. Now, you could go through it. I've had people come to me and try to sell that way. They say, Mr. Schiffman, is there an issue that's facing you now that you can't handle? No, I said, I remember when that was actually asked me. No, I'm fine. Well, is there something that keeps you up at night? No, not really. I had no problems. I was doing fine. We were moving right along with the company, and I didn't really have an issue. Well, suppose I could do this for you, he said. And this was like all over to the left or the right of where I wanted to be. And no, there was no answer. I just didn't buy that. Well, this is what happened. And listen, because it's an important story. A number of years later, we were working for a company called MCI. Those of you who've been around a little bit in telecom remember that company. That was one of the first companies that actually busted up the AT&T monopoly of telephones. They sued and they won the lawsuit, which now allowed other companies to go into the telecom market. Important date. Well, anyway, I was working for this company, MCI. And what I was told to do, because this is what I wanted to do, was to go ahead and make some recordings of case studies, and we would then play them back in our class situation later in the month. So I brought together a couple of reps, true story now, brought together a couple of reps, brought together someone who could play the role play of the hard driving buyer. And we sent the rep out of the room while we went ahead and put this deal together. This situation, this ridiculous thing that we conspired. Well, it was a long day. And we forgot about the rep. We're in there going, okay, you say no matter what he says. You say yes no matter what he says. You say this, but whatever you do, you don't buy. So the young lady who was doing this at that time said, okay, I can do that. I just have to keep saying no. I said, that's it, just do no. So the videotape was on. We brought the person in. We didn't tell him much. We said, okay, go ahead. And he started to sell. And then he stopped. He said, look, I can't sell anything until I understand who I'm speaking to. So what's her name? So he asked her. He said, and what does she do? And she answered that. And why do you do that? How did you get that job? And she answered that. And what are you using now? And how and why do you use it now? And she answered that. And all of a sudden, he had the picture, the snapshot of who he was selling to. He understood that she was doing something now, and he might be able to help her do it better. But then he turned to her and he said, which I thought was just the most amazing moment. He said, so what keeps you up at night? That's funny. He had it. He had all the information. but he still fell back to what he had been taught. What keeps you up at night? And she said, nothing. And that was the end of the role play and the end of the sale. I can remember that like yesterday. We were down on Wall Street. I can remember like yesterday. And the reason I'm telling you that is it's still alive today. If you go in and you say to somebody, hey, what keeps you up at night? What bothers you? What is it that drives you crazy? You're going to get the same answer that you've gotten every single time. Nothing. Nothing, unless the whole place is falling apart. And then you probably can't do much with it. So remember, really the key in selling is asking people what they do, how they do it, when they do it, where they do it, who they do it with, why they're doing it that way. And your job as a salesperson is simply to help them do it better. Remember, I've told you, you can win a book. You can win a book. Big Bang is what we're sending out this week. And the way you do that is simply by saying or typing in the word eraser. Go to my website, go on, or go link there, however you want to find me, sSchiffman@steveschiffman.com, and just write the word eraser, and you have a chance. We've sent out about 60 books at this point. You have a chance of winning a book. This simple eraser is all you got to remember. Eraser. Just remember to do that. And by the way, if you need some help in coaching, you need some help in training your staff, you need some help with your company, individual or otherwise, let me know. Give me a call. Let me know what's going on in your world. I talk to so many salespeople every single day, and I'd love to talk to you too. All right, so this is Steve Schiffman. A little bit about my history. Thought it might be interesting to you. Stay with me. We'll talk more. All right, thank you very much for joining me. And as always, you humble me by your attendance.